If you don't do this one thing, all the studying you do for the SAT is meaningless. Let me explain. Imagine you are taking a practice test when you see this question. You take a look at it and you know how to do this. You've done this before. But then, you just pick the answer that sounds best to you. This is what a lack of something I like to call active application looks like. It happens when you know the system, but under pressure, you abandon the system and fall back on instinct. This essentially renders all your studying useless. You're going back to doing what you did on day one. No wonder your score stays the same. You can't do the same thing twice and expect different results. So the first and probably most impacted section by the lack of active application is grammar. That's because what looks right and what is right is most different within this question type, because the everyday language we are exposed to is not the same as proper English. Other question types that are also impacted by this are transitions, reading comprehension, and desmosable math, where our intuition often overrides more reliable structure. Now that you know what sections to watch out for, this is how you're going to prevent yourself from falling for this trap. Next time you take a practice test, and I would write this down somewhere so you don't forget, force yourself to use what you have learned, especially for the sections I listed above. It doesn't matter if it takes longer or even if your score drops, actively think to yourself as you pick your answer, what rule or system am I actually using? If you can't answer that question, you didn't actually apply the system. If you keep doing this, eventually what will happen is that this active application becomes intuitive, which in turn makes you more consistent and makes sure that your improvements on practice tests will translate onto the real thing. When I hit a plateau in the high 1400s for months, active application is what helped me finally reach the 1500s. It wasn't what I knew that changed, it was how I actually used the knowledge. Now before you go, there is one big caveat to this. If you don't actually know the best systems to use to solve each type of problem, you can't actually apply them. That's why I made my guide, which is all the systems I use to get a 1550. It is also currently 40% off for a limited time, so be sure to buy it quick.